Right. So function name is directly ASCII. So that is the name of the function ASC. So this function is used to retrieve the ASCII character based on the given character, whatever ASCII number for whatever the character that we have given. Then you can say. So now you can say char equals to, I'll give it as A. Okay. Then int ASCII number equals to ASCII of str character. So you can directly provide the character also instead of through a variable. You can directly provide here, but the standard is generally we pass through a variable. ASCII of str character. Then message box int ASCII number. Then it says 65. So 65 is the starting range for the ASCII number. ASCII number starting range for uppercase letters. Okay. Then when I say Z here, then 90. 65 to 90 for uppercase letters. Same thing if you give small a, then it will be 97. So 97 to 122 for lowercase letters for ASCII numbers. Then if you give special characters, like I will give the space, then 32 is a special character for space. Then maybe you can use any. I'll give the percentage. Then 37. Then I will give 0. Starting from 48 to 57 is for numerics. Okay. Then 48 to 57 for numerics 0 to 9. So if somebody asks you saying maybe how many in a string, how many uppercase letters are there, or how many lowercase letters are there, or how many numerics are there, or how many special characters are there, then your logic will be like this. First get length of the string, loop it from first character to last character, get one by one character. We are going to do this, okay, but I'm just giving you the logic for now. Retrieve one by one character, okay, get the ASCII number for the retrieved character. So whatever the character that you have got, one by one you are getting, right? If that ASCII number is between 97 to 122, use one counter variable to count lowercase, another counter variable to count uppercase, another variable to count special characters, another for numerics. Then in case if the ASCII number is in between 97 to 122, increase the value for lowercase letters variable. If the ASCII number is between 65 to 90, increase the counter for uppercase letters. In case if the ASCII number range is 48 to 57, then increase the counter value for counter variable for which is created for numerics. Then else, that means if it is not in all above ranges, then increase the counter for special characters. So this is one of the important logic for interviews. How do you count how many characters are there? This is what my string is. Now I want to retrieve how many special characters are there. Then how do you retrieve? By using this. If the ASCII number is not in 48 to 57, 65 to 90 and 197 to 122. If not in all these ranges, then it will be obviously special character. Okay. So if they say how many numerics are there, then to find numerics there are two ways. There is something called useNumeric function, which I will come to that part little later. I told about useDate, right? And is empty, something that I told. And similarly, we have something called is numeric also to check whether the given character or given value, whatever the value it is, that it is a numeric value or non-numeric value. Okay, so you can use that, retrieve one by one character, is numeric of that character equals to true, that's a numeric. Or second way is, okay, retrieve the one by one character, if the given character ASCII number is in between 48 to 57, then that's a numeric. So all these are some, I have the ASCII number with me, then what I have to do is I need to retrieve the character whatever is associated with the given ASCII number. Then say int ASCII number equals to, I have 40. I want to know which is a character associated for the ASCII number, for this ASCII number 40. Then what you need to do is to retrieve the character based on the ASCII number. We use something called CHR. Function name is CHR. Input for CHR is ASCII number. Character code we call it as int ASCII number. Then str character equals to. Then what I'm saying is here so that is a character which is associated for the ASCII number 40. And if you give 95 here, that's for 95. Then if you give 97, then what should be the output? Small a, right? So 97, if we give 110, okay, so generally where we use CHR function is sometimes probably we need to append the double quote characters and all, or sometimes we need to append a new line character and all, okay, to the string. Okay, so whenever you want to append a new line character to the string, let's see what I'm doing is here, say str val1 equals to test, str val2 equals to test1. Both have to be displayed in one message box, but I have to create them in two lines. I have to append them. That means in between val1 and val2 I need to append a new line character. Then str full val equals to str val1 ampersand chr of 30 ampersand str val2. So when you are not able to pass the character directly, okay, to the string or to the value or when to the program, then what you can do is instead of passing the character directly to the program, you can pass the character code. If you pass the character code, your script will decode that ASCII number into the character, and then that character will be automatically passed to the value. Why? How we know that SCHR 30 or 34, some characters that some ASCII numbers generally we know, but you don't need to remember all the ASCII numbers. Okay, remember that you don't need to know all the ASCII numbers because that will be highly difficult. There are a lot of ASCII numbers and all there, but you can just understand the ranges 65 to 90, 97 to 122 and 48 to 57, and the remaining are special characters. Then so spaces there. 1 minute. So CHR of 31 is empty. First space. $33 for exclamation mark. Then when you say 34 for double quote character, double quote character has come. Then not sure which one is for new line. Hash. So somewhere it's little difficult to remember all those. Dollar. I'm not sure which one out of this percentage. Okay, but anyway, you don't need to worry about that. Just you can say Ascii table. You will just get the plenty of the Ascii tables here globally. You can take the any of the Ascii table here. Then you can see. So there are plenty of these are the ASCII numbers that which we do have. The first one. Then there are a lot of characters available. If you see that 34 is for double character, you can see we just used this range, right? And the special characters and uppercase for delete. If you want to pass the delete key to the program, what you can do, ASCII number of 127. So like this we have, but we can get online, easily. So that is the reason we never need to worry about remembering those ASCII numbers and all. Even we do the same in the real also to get the ASCII number. But since we use those characters and all very frequently, we can remember that range and all. But to remember all the ASCII numbers for all the characters, highly difficult it is. So we always depend on the Google only. We just Google ASCII table and search it. You will get list of tables, the hundreds of tables that you get ASCII tables. But all the tables will give you the same kind of information only. Okay. But in interviews, what they expect is if you can tell what is that function and what that function does exactly, that will be more than enough. Okay. So CHR, what it is doing, see, whenever I want to append a double quote character, then instead of directly giving the double quote character there, I'm just giving it as CHR of 37. So the script will decode that 37 into the specific character, and then the character will be passed to the value. Okay, so there are certain situations where we need to pass. Now let's say, for example, okay, I want to pass the delete key. Then when I want to press on delete key there, then I cannot directly type the delete there, right? If I pass the delete, D will be taken as individual, E will be taken as an individual, or L will be taken as an individual, like that. So in such cases, instead of passing the delete, I will say it as, okay, type CHR of 127. Then the CHR of 127 will be encoded into delete key, and then delete key will be passed to the string order. Okay, so there are certain situations are like this. Probably we need to use, so whenever you want to pass null key, then CHR of 0. Okay, all this we have. Then so to pass the escape key, we have 27. Line feed, CHR of 10 is for line feed. Yeah, you can see it has come. It's a 10, CHR of 10. Okay, so like this. So whatever the ASCII number that you pass here, then that number will be encoded into a character, decoded into a character. Character will be taken into the program script. Okay, so this is what ASCII and CHR. ASCII is when you know the character, then to get the number, ASCII number for that character, we use ASCII, and when we know the ASCII number and to get the character based on that ASCII number, then we use CHR. Okay, just opposite to both are. Then okay, so another conversion function is here. Now let's say expected value equals to what I am doing here, 20. Then str actual value equals to input box of some. I'm just, this is only to say what needs to be displayed there. Then so actual value I am passing through the input box. So whatever the value that I enter into the input box, then that comes as actual value here. But remember that generally, we get the values from database, those actual values, or we get the values from application, or sometimes we get from external reports and all, right? Then in this case, what we have to do is, just say, first we'll compare it. If the actual value, expected value and actual value, if both are same, message box say both are same, else don't write down for a while, you have to still modify this, both are not same. Okay. Conversions. Oh. What I have done? 20. What is the expected value there? 20. What happened here? But I entered the same value, right? And let me display that. So let me display both. Just your actual value. No space, nothing I have given, and directly entered the value, right? So at least in case if it is a string, or if it is an alpha character, then you say that probably it is in different case or something like that. Or if I've entered any space, then we can say that because of the space it is not comparison has been failed. But I have not entered any space, I have entered the exact value there, and case also should not be a matter because it's a numeric value. But what it is saying here, so even though the value is same, but still it is saying that both are not same, but it's supposed to be same. Then what happened here? Write down a function called type name. Function name, write down. There is a function called type name. What's happening there? I have not displayed the value. What is the type, whatever the type of the value which is stored inside, and just display the type name returns the type of the value, what type of value is currently stored in a variable. So write down the type name function. Type name is used to retrieve the name of the subtype, of value, subtype of value which is currently stored in a variable. Okay. Name of the subtype. Now if you see that the expected value whatever I have given as an integer, even though it is a byte value, generally the range is like this, 0 to 255 is the byte range. When it comes to the SQL server, we call it as tiny int, and here we call it as byte. Then 32,767 minus and plus in between, that's called integer. Generally, see here, it's like this. Byte value is 2 power 8 minus 1. 2 power 8 minus 1. So it comes as 255. That's a byte range. Integer range is 2 power 15 minus 1. That comes as 32,000 something. 2 power 63, I guess. 2 power 63 minus 1. Then long value will be more than that. Okay. So that's a range actually. Let's see what exactly it is. 2 power 63 or scientific calculator. It's 2 power 15 minus 1. That's an integer range. Okay, so 2 power 15 is 32,768 minus 1, 32,767. Okay, so long value will be minus 1. That's a long value. No, 1 minute. 2 power 32 minus 1. That's a long value range. Okay. Then if number is even bigger, then so that will be double. Okay. So 2 power 8 minus 1. 2 power 8 minus 1 byte, 2 power 15 minus 1 integer, 2 power 32 minus 1 long, and then so if the number goes, it will be currency and then double. 2 power 63, then currency, then after that double we get. So even though the values are numeric values, but in the numeric values itself we have got different types based on the range of the number. Now even though, see here, even though I have given us 20, 0 to 255 range, right, it is, but it is returning as integer, because a byte can be an integer at the end, because the integer range contains the byte range also in between, because byte range is 0 to 255, where integer range is minus 32,002 plus 32,000. So 0 to 255 comes in between, right? So a byte can be an integer at the end. So that's the reason it's showing it as integer. So the value whatever we have stored inside the expected value, then it is showing it as it's an integer value that you have stored here. But the value which you have passed through the input box, then that is showing it as a string value. The reason, because that's how they have defined. When you take the values from external sources, okay, maybe you take the value from Excel, or you take the value from application, or you take the values from database, or you take the values from input box like this, or the external XML files. There will be many other things that there are a lot of source files that we do have sources. When you take the values from those external sources into the program, and even though the values are the numeric values, but the internal type of that value will be set as string. So that's the reason what's happening here. Before it is comparing the values, value to value, first it checks what is the type of the value which is stored inside. Okay, so one type of value, for one variable it is integer value, and for another variable it is string value. So that's where the comparison has been failed. So that means it's not comparing the value. Before it compares the value, it is comparing the subtype. Both are having the same type of value or not. But one variable contains the integer type of value, second variable is containing the string type. This is quite common. Whenever you take the values from external, even though the values are numeric values, but still that will be returned as string values type. Okay, then comparison will be failed. But see, when my validation is like this. In case if the value is same, no matter what type of value it is, but I just have to check the value to value, right? So I can't make, I can't ask my application to display this as numeric type, because that's the behavior of the application. That's how it is. When you update the value there, then that will be automatically taken as a string type only, the application. So what I have to do is here, even in the database, sometimes if you remember when we are defining the table and all, we used varchar or we used char, right? So what is meant by varchar? It's a string value. Varchar means a string value that you store. So inside that varchar column, if you store the numeric value also, when you take the value from value through program or script, the value will be returned as string type. Okay? So in such cases, what we need to do is, instead of directly comparing, convert both into a standard type. Since the first value is an integer type, second one also convert into numeric type. First one is numeric and second one also convert into numeric type. You are not changing the value. What you need to do? You need to convert the type of the value. Or the another way you can do. Since the second one is taken as a string, convert the first one also into string type. So there are certain situations probably where we need to change the type of the value, change the subtype. But a type we cannot change. Main type is variant only. It remains variant only. But all these are the subtypes. So you can change the subtype of the variable. Then how do we do that? Then we use this conversion functions. Then the first one is here. I want to convert the first value to string type. Since the actual result is coming in a string way, coming as string type, then convert the first one also into string type. Then what we need to do is here is to convert into type. Write down the function called CSTR. Function name is CSTR. C stands for conversion here. CSTR means convert into string type. Okay, so CSTR of str expected value. What I am doing here is I am just converting the variable into string type. CSTR of so and so variable. So the variable will be converted into string type. Then after that, I'll display again one more time. After converting into string type, again I'm displaying the type of the value. Initially it is integer and string. That is before conversion. After that, if you see that both are returning as string, then this time it has to show as same. So there are certain situations like this where you must have to convert. But if you see, if you display the value, right? I'm just trying to display only the value, not the type. After displaying the type. If you see that it's the same value, values are not being changed, values are not being converted, values are not being converted, but only the subtype will be converted. So this conversion functions will be used only to convert the subtype of the variable, not the values, remember. Okay, next. The another way what we have is here, then instead of converting the first value into string type, convert second one into numeric type. Okay, convert second one into numeric type. Then now what I have to do is here, then exterior actual value should be converted into numeric type. Then what is the value which we are passing? 20. So is that in integer range or byte range? It's in byte range first. So even though this is, the script is showing it as an integer, still byte also will work. When the number is in between 0 to 255, no matter it is an integer or byte, then okay, if both are numeric types, then it will be compared. So one value is subtype is integer, second subtype value is byte. Even though it is like that, then it will show it as an integer for both, and then it will be compared based on the range of the number. Okay. So now, if you are confident that the value whatever we are passing or the value whatever we are getting will never go beyond 255, the number should be always in between 0 to 255, what should be done here? We have to convert that into byte type first. Okay. Then how do we convert the value into byte type? Then you can say function name is C byte. Function name is C byte. C byte is used to convert a value into subtype byte. Then subtype of actual value. So I'm just converting into byte type. Getting what I'm saying here? So these functions are little important even in terms of interviews also. Okay. Then after that, what I'm doing is I'm just displaying the same whatever I was doing. So I'm passing 20. So one is integer, second one is byte. Even though it is one is integer, second one is, see, the default nature it will take as an integer, but since you converted into byte, then fine. But integer and byte both are numeric types only. So when both have got the same numbers, then it will still match, even though the subtype is one is integer, second one is byte, but it will check number to number because both are numerics only here. Okay. But when it is string and the other one is numeric or numeric value, then it will fail. But if both are numeric values, no matter it is a byte or it is an integer or it is a long value or it is double value, whatever it is, when the values are same, then it will be compared. Because byte and integer comes into both category. Just byte we are setting based on the range of the number whatever we have got, that's it. Byte can be internally integer. So one is showing as integer, second one is showing it as byte. Still it is showing it as both are same. The reason because byte also comes under integer only. Okay. Then one more thing that you need to remember here is I am giving the decimals here. Before that string. After that it is taking into byte. Now it is 2020. So what does it mean? Even though when I have given the decimals, remember that byte, integer and long, these values cannot have the decimals. If you are given the decimals there, then as soon as you use C byte or C int or C long, then those decimals will be automatically rounded to integer part. Okay. So those will not have any, this will round the numbers into 0 decimals. Always remember that. This is okay. Now, so when I said 20.5, then what it's supposed to be? Always the nearest number it has to, right? But 20.5, then what's supposed to be the nearest number? Generally when we round it, it's supposed to be 21 usually, right? But what it rounded to? I'll give 16.5. What's supposed to be when it rounds? 17, right? It's supposed to be. What it is? 16 only. But both are not same here because the values are different. I'm giving 17.5 now. Earlier when I gave 16.5, it was 16. Remember, that will route to nearest integer even number. That will round to nearest even number, not directly rounding. When I say 16.5, what is the nearest even number? 16 only. When I give 20.5, the nearest even number is 20. Okay, so 21.5, then 22 is the nearest. But it is only for 0.5. Otherwise, if it is 0.6 or 0.7 and all, then it will be to the nearest number. Only dot 5, when you use dot 5, then that's how it will be. Okay, so even though one is string value, one is integer value, second one is byte value, still it is showing it as same when both are values, because byte and integer, since both are numeric type only, both comes into the numeric. Then if the value is different, then it says that both are not same. If the value is same, it will say it as both. It won't consider the subtype. For numerics, it won't consider the subtype directly, it will consider the value. Okay, now the number what I am giving is here 256 is expected value, and even actual value also I will give in the same way. Now what is the range of that? It's not in byte range, right? It's beyond the byte range, but we are trying to convert into byte. What it says here? Overflow. Because the number, the value whatever you have given gone beyond the byte range, so we are not able to convert into byte. So C byte is not applicable. Use C byte only when you are confident that the value will be always less than or equal to 255, not more than that. If that is the case, then only you can use byte. But if the number is going beyond that, or if the value is going beyond 255, or sometimes it may return negative $1, then in such cases you can't use C byte. Then what you can do is, instead of use C byte, then you can say cint. Function name is cint, convert into integer. Then integer, that's first message is before conversion, second one is after conversion. Then you can say both are same. So that will work till 32,767. Then if you give 20 here, so that is the byte value, right? 20 is a byte value. So even 20 also converting into integer, because byte value comes under integer range even. So if you say that, if the number, I can't predict the number, because sometimes it could be a small number, or sometimes the number go bigger, then in such case, instead of using C byte, directly use cint. You can directly use cint. We always, most of the times we use cint instead of C byte, because number goes even bigger. But certain situations, number got even bigger. Then in this case, it says overflow, because the integer range is 32,767, but again it's gone beyond the range, right? So it is a range. Then what needs to be done here? Make that as long. So how do we convert into long value? So C, L and G, long. So both are long now. Okay. Now in case if you see that if your number contains some decimals, then but if you see that, okay, 1 minute, I haven't saved this. What is that? It is taking double. So remember, long, integer and byte, these will not have any decimals, but as soon as you give the decimals, then no matter whatever the number that you give, as soon as it finds the decimals, that will be taken as a double. Now if I use long, if I convert that into long, then what happens? It converts into, or it will round the number, but I want to keep the, I have to make into a numeric type, but I have to keep the decimals as it is. I don't want to round that number, then my number needs decimals also, then it should not round. But when I use C long there, it rounds the number into 0 decimals. And when I use C int also depends on the range of the number, it will again round into only integer part, that means 0 decimals. Even byte also rounds to 0 decimals, but I don't want to round it to 0 decimals, but I need to make into numeric type, that's it. And if in case if there are any decimals there in the value, even my expected value contains the decimals, actual value also, if it returns with the decimals, then it should not round, right? Then it has to retrieve number as it is. Then in that case, what you do is, instead of using C long or C byte or C int, then write down the function called C double. That's all. You give C double. It's not case sensitive. Function name you can give in any case, no problem. See, both are converted into double now. You can see the number is not rounded. The number can go even bigger, or number can go smaller also. You can for double 0.25, 0.3, 0.5. So all those are double values only. As soon as it, generally other ways we call it as float, but here we call it as double. That's it. The float numbers here we call them as double. No change. Then if the number is beyond that, again you can use something called currency. Okay, so currency, CUR, but we don't get that much big. It is 9E something range. Okay, that's a huge range that we generally will be having. Okay, so like this, whenever you get, then if you want to deal with the numeric values and the comparison and all, then you must have to use either of this function, any of this function. In the value is smaller, then if the value is never goes big, then use C byte directly. Or if the number is in medium range, use C int. Or if the number is little bigger, then use C long. Or if the number contains the decimals also, use C double. Okay, no matter if it is small number or bigger number, and remember all this comes under double. Integer includes C byte also, long includes byte and integer, and double includes byte, integer or long. Okay, so double includes all this. String is different, right? I mean, string you're just converting into string type, but here these functions are for converting into numeric type. Okay, so this is how generally we convert the types and numeric types, but we are not at that. So now we just understood when to convert into string type or to convert into numeric type any of the value. Then one more thing that you need to remember here is Okay, whenever I want to convert into double type or integer type or numeric type, byte type or long type. Okay, so the precondition here is the value must be numeric value. Subtype can be string, but it should not contain any alpha characters or special characters. When the value contains alpha characters or special characters, then how it can convert into byte, how it can convert into integer? That can never happen. What I mean to say here is, if you say str equals to, then this is how the value is. Then how that can be converted into integer? How that can be converted into byte? Cannot be done. Right? So if I say, value equals to cint of str ss box okay, what happens? It says the type mismatch because the value what you have provided is wrong there. So alpha characters or special characters and all cannot be converted into numeric types. Then what we need to do is, instead of getting that error, then before I execute this function, I need to verify whether the given value is a numeric or non-numeric value. Then how can we check whether the given value is a numeric or non-numeric is, so we have a function called isNumeric. Function name is isNumeric. So this function is used to convert a value into numeric type. Convert a value into numeric type. If isNumeric of str equals to, this returns true or false. If equal to true, then display it. Else, give me a message box saying that given number is not numeric, hence it cannot be converted into integer type. Yes, given number is not numeric. Then if I give, then it should work fine this time. Okay, so isNumeric is used to check whether it's a numeric or non-numeric value. Okay, so many times, before we generally perform certain action, for every action we have the preconditions. So these functions are used for to validate those preconditions. Is numeric or is date or is null, is empty. Okay, so all this. Then next, one more is here, converting into date. Converting into date. Write down the function called cdate. So another important function which we use. Fine. See, sometimes what happens is when we take some applications. Let me take an example here. I'll take those examples. Just wait for a while. Let it get launched. Then I'll just go to a certain screen. Okay, so here itself it is there, right? Now let's say here date picker is there. Now when I say date picker, date I am giving as individual, and here am I passing the month number? No, you have to select the month name, and then generally this is where we use month name and all. When we give the expected value, okay, so in the expected value we will give like this 10, 15, 2015, like that generally we will give. But then in the application it has to convert into month name, okay, first the 3 characters of the month name. So what you have to do, we have to use month name of month of date, so that first it will retrieve the month number, based on that month name will be retrieved. Then you can use left function, left of that month name, left 3. So first 3 characters. This is where one of the place where we use left function and all. Okay. Then, but one more thing here is, each one I am selecting an individual, right? But at the end internally what happens is, even though I am picking day individually, month individually and year individually, they will concatenate like this. Okay, probably they will say 22 June 2015. Like that they will concatenate as single date, even though I am doing individually. But in the database, how it will be displayed? Probably it will may display in the standard date format. But in the application, I am selecting like 22 June 2015. But in application, in the database, it will be June means 7, right? 6 or 7, 6/22 2015. So like that it will be displayed in the database. But the expected value, how I passed 22 June 2015, but in the database it is 6/22 2015. But both are same date here. But only thing is the date format is different here. You got what I'm saying? Since the format is separate, then when it is comparing the value to value, then it shows it as not same, right? Both have got it in 2 different formats. So in such cases, what we need to do is, even though the value is passed in a different format into the application, but for comparison and all, I need to convert that different format into standard date type. The standard date type is MMDD YYY. Or it depends on the system setting. Generally in the BIOS setting and all, you can do the setting, like some people, when you're formatting the system and all, we give the Indian time zone as a type format, or you can set the time format, right? Then you can say here time format and all can be set. Somewhere you can set here the date format, time format and all. So here I have given as MMDD YYY short format, or I'll do this setting, apply. Okay, so that's how the date will be displayed. Now what I will do is, in my like this, but in the database it will be 6/5/2015, like that. Then see date of str message box str date. What it said? 05/06/05. The reason, because I have given MMDD format there. Same thing, what I will do, I'll just let me go back and then do the setting, and what I will do is I will use the short date. So it depends on the system setting. Okay, so no wonder if don't wonder if your system says DDMM after using CDate. Here it is converting into MMDD, but it depends on the system setting. That's the reason, that's what I'm trying to show here. It is showing it as 6.1. Then if I say, so, oh no, not here. Right? So it converts, CDate is used to convert the date, whatever the input that you have provided, convert the date into standard type based on your system setting. If your system setting is set as MDYY short date, then it will be converted into accordingly. Then that's what CDate, it converts into date type. Then when we are using this, okay, remember the input whatever we have providing here, this, that means the str, or it can be any variable name. Remember that's just a variable name. Then whenever you are passing the input there, the input must be in recognizable date format. That's what I told in the beginning. So how we can say that that is in recognizable format is the date has 3 parameters: month, day, year. Always for any date, whatever it can be in, any format. Probably it's an MMDD, YYY, or year, month and day, or day, month, year, or anything. But 3 parameters it is. Then when you are passing the input, input must contain at least 2 parameters or the maximum 3 parameters. But it cannot contain only 1 parameter of the date. Okay, so you cannot just pass month alone, or you cannot pass just day alone or year alone. So at least 2 parameters need to be passed at minimum. Then those 2 out of those 2, month is a mandatory parameter. So it can be month, year, or month, day, or it can be day, month, year. Now if you say like, okay, I'm giving it as 5 June, June 5th it is. Can see current year is already, it's automatically adding. Then what I will do is here, I'm saying June 2015. It says 1. So if you miss the day there, then it will add the first day of the month, not the current day. Remember that. But if you miss the year, it will add the current year. Then you can also give in any format. You can say like this. Then you can also give the short date. I'm just giving Jan 1st. It's not a short month name also you can give. Then you can also give in any format. Okay, so you can give in any format, but should be in a recognizable way. At least 2 parameters need to be provided, and those things can be in any order. You can bring the year to first, or you can bring the month to first, or day to first, anything. So CDate is used to convert an input into a standard date format. But if you give in a recognizable format, unrecognizable format, I'll say like this. Can that be converted into name? No, that's a string value. So what needs to be done in this case is it says the type mismatch. There is a function called isDate. This function is used to convert an input, verify whether the input is in recognizable date format or not. This returns true or false. In case if the input is not in recognizable date format, True means convert. Else, give a message box saying that date is not in recognizable format. So in case if it is not in recognizable format, instead of throwing the error, you are providing the message to the user, say, hey, you have provided some wrong input there and please correct that input. Okay, so these are the conversion functions that we do have. Okay, then some formatting functions, and we discussed about formatting functions also a little bit. Now, what and all the formatting functions that we do have, there are some set of functions is that's what the number I have here, and I want to round that number to only 2 decimals.
Using float.
No float function we have here.
Takes first 2 points.
No. Okay, so if you use double there, it will take the entire number. I mean, double will not round the number, remember. But my requirement here is I want to convert, or I want to round that number to 2 decimals. If there are more number of decimals are there, then maybe 4 or 5 decimals are there, but I need to convert only into 2 decimals. Then what needs to be done here is there is a function dedicated for that. The number is round. Function name is round. This function is used to round a number into specified number of decimals. Say into number comma 2. I mean, one is what is the number, second one is how many decimals you want. Okay, so I'm just saying it as output I'm storing into a variable. You see, it's rounding into 2 decimals, right? So round, it's straightforward. One is what is the number, second one is how many decimals you want. But number of decimals is optional. If you don't provide anything, it will round to 0 decimals. If you don't provide the number of decimals, it will round to 0 decimals. If you round up to specific decimals, then you can just say what is the number, comma, how many decimals. But remember here, one thing that you need to know is, now how many decimals available in that? Only 1 decimal is available in the number. But how many decimals I'm asking to round? Up to 2 decimals. But the available decimals are less than the given number here, given number of decimals, right? Then let's see what happens. What it said? Only 1 decimal. So in case if the available decimals are less than given number, then it takes only the available one, whichever is less, always. But in certain situations, what I need is, okay, even though the available decimals are less than given number, count how many are less, then add this many zeros. But at the end, I want, when I say 2, I want 2 decimals. But if the available decimals are only 1 there, add 1 extra 0. So I will get the 2 decimals. But round will not do that. It will, in case if the available decimals are less than given number, then it will take the available decimals. But if you want to add the zeros, I want at any cost, I want these decimals, that's it. In case if there are less number of decimals available, add this many zeros. Then in that case, what you can do is, instead of using round, there is a function called format number. So to format into a number type and to add specific number of, so can you see? And it is converted into number type. If you say when it is 4002, 4,002, that's what it is. When you give huge number, then generally numbers will be given like that. If I have huge number, if you see how that will be separated. Did I save this? No, I have given for, I have to use format number, right? You can see how it is converted into number. That's how generally we pass the numbers, right? To display into number type. In case if the number of decimals are less than, or available decimals are less than given number, it will add this many zeros. That's it. Okay. So we'll stop here today. There are few more functions available. We can quickly discuss tomorrow, and then we will move into the other ones. Clear? These functions.